What's going on, guys? Tyler Smith from TopSoundDesign.com here. So I'm going to talk about some preferences in this video. We're mainly going to keep it default preferences on what works best as beginning and sessions, but we're just going to go down to preferences here in settings. All right, and let's go to the first one, display. So you're going to see the basics here. This is the default way of doing it, and this is how I like it. Tooltips. This is a really good function because with functions and details checked right here, this is going to show you what every button is just by putting your cursor on it, which is, you see that like so. If you do, say we're going over this, that's the trim tool, selector tool, that's the basics on what that does. So let's go down here, organize plugin menus by category, blah blah blah, English. So this is a good way to have it starting out. Let's go to operation. So with the transport, this is how I like to keep it. Timeline insertion, play, start marker follows playback. This is all stuff you can change out here. I typically leave that off for the most part. The only thing that I might come back and turn on is this edit insertion follows scrub shuttle. But I'm not going to keep that on for now. That's only for certain situations. I'll come back and put that on if I really want it. Latch forward, rewind, don't really want that. So this is really the only one you need selected: play, start, marker follows, timeline, selection, which means anywhere you click on the edit window, when you press play, that's the point that it's going to start playing at wherever you click, which is really helpful instead of going back and it restarts at the beginning part where you didn't even click. So, and keep that at transport. Another thing, enable session file auto backups. This is really important actually. I like to save manually. If I go back and edit a whole track, then I'm going to save it manually. But I keep this on just in case as a safety net, I guess you could say. Keep the 10 most recent backups as it keeps backing up, back up every 5 minutes. I've been debating if I need to change this to a shorter amount of time because I've had Pro Tools crash on me within 2 minutes of a track, and I can have a track done in a couple minutes, which is really annoying when Pro Tools crashes like that, because a couple minutes is a lot of work in Pro Tools. So that's always helpful. With record, latch record, enable buttons, enable automation and record. I keep that off. There's really no need for me to do that. And if you're just starting out in Pro Tools, there's really no need for that. But all this kind of the default stuff right here is good. The root, Pro Tools, blah blah blah. Video, I guess I don't really use video in Pro Tools, so I guess I could uncheck that, but I'm just going to keep everything default as it is. Let's go to editing. So these are some helpful things. Clip list selection follows edit selection follows clip. Auto name separated clips, which is what I was talking about in the first video with the track names. These clips are going to take after the track name over here that you name them. So every clip you record, every separation of a clip, they're both going to be named after that track name. So it's important to name your tracks before you start recording, before you start editing, moving clips around. So really the only thing to worry about in here is the levels of undo. I have it at 64 because my computer tends to handle it okay. I might need to bump that down if it keeps crashing like it has recently. But basically this is the amount of RAM Pro Tools is using at a time, because it's saving all of those undos all the way back to 64. So if you want to increase your RAM, this is a good place to go to do that. You could back it down 10. I don't really know how much it helps per undo, but I mean, if you find yourself only undoing, 32, say, cut that in half, put in 32, and you're probably going to get some better RAM performance. But we're going to cover more advanced stuff in another video. This is basically the default setting for what works best for a beginner session. I find it to be more than great for sessions just like this session I have going right here. there's probably, well, that's a comp track. Let's get this in waveform view. Like this session, it's a pretty, there's some stuff going on in there, and it's running it just fine. Like I don't have to go back in preferences, change anything, so it works well. But that's it for this video. Catch us in the next one for some more advanced preferences. I'm going to get into editing, mixing. I'm going to get to all that stuff in the near future. But stay in tune with us, and I'll see you guys in the next one.